You really don't remember me?
I don't. You're gorgeous. I don't see how I'd forget meeting you.
It was a long time ago.
Sorry.
It's okay. We're here now, aren't we?
Yes, we are. This is it. So you like it rough?
I like it hot.
Oh. Show me.
Yeah.
Show me more, huh?
Let me show you. You like that?
Oh, yeah, baby.
I want to show you something.
Yeah. Show me, baby. What do you got for me? Hey, whoa.
Now, do you remember me?
No, wait.
In New York City, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. These are their stories.
Hello and welcome to yet another thrilling episode of Munchie Benson. My name is Adam. I'm here in a stormy but very hot Manhattan, New York City. I'm joined on the line by Josh Dugan. How's it going up there, Josh?
It's going great.
Yeah?
I actually fell asleep watching this the second time.
Wow.
Thankfully.
I
missed the end the second time around on the second half, so I feel like I'm actually doing okay because I did. But.
I barely finished the first time, Josh. So this one might lack some of the thoroughness that we're known for at Munchie Benson.
Yeah, that we pride ourselves in.
You been up to anything in the last day or so since we last spoke?
The last 24 hours.
Yeah.
What can I talk about?
I took the kiddo and and Bandit out to Central Park today. It was very warm, but we had a lovely time in the park. Kid got to he swang, and we found a little rock for him to climb around on. So that was a really fun outing into the city.
Right on.
But that's about it. That's all I got.
So he was reveling in the work of Frederick Olmsted.
He was actually talking about how it was. So we were in an area that had once been, it was an African-American town on the north side.
I was going to ask about that, actually. Yeah. That's where I was going to...
Yeah, that's where we were.
Yeah.
And so we had a pretty thoughtful discussion about whether the benefits to society of Central Park existing outweigh the negatives of people who certainly didn't have a better place to go, having their homes destroyed, or generally speaking, not their own benefit. So yeah. That's the kind of discussion one has with a 13-month-old.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure he had a lot of insight. Uh-huh. Nothing like displacing the freed black men and black women of this is 1860s? 1870s?
Yeah, I mean, I think Central Park was built in the 1870s. The ruins of Seneca Village, I believe, are from the 1850s. But needless to say, I was following a toddler around, so I didn't get a chance to read all of the placards. So I can't give you a very detailed description of it.
Yeah, those placards that were put up.
Like the last 5 years
10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I would feel much better about enjoying Central Park for that reason than enjoying the myriad of other things around this hell of a country of ours, including a really shitty freeway in Austin that got built specifically over the freed black community, and any number of other things. And
weren't both 35 and Mopac?
Well, yeah, 35 was mostly to kind of segregate the undesirables off into a red line district.
Yeah, and then Mopac cleared out Clarksville.
Mopac specifically leveled the sort of one black neighborhood in West Austin.
Sure.
And you could see the foundation, or at least you could before the latest construction work. I don't know if it's still there. But along the Johnson Creek Trail, any of our Austin listeners, you can see the remains of what was once a very large and thriving community dating back to the end of the Civil War that was destroyed.
America.
Yeah.
Happened in St. Paul, too.
Yeah.
We were just watching on the news about I wish I could remember the name of the neighborhood.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it's
every city, basically.
Few parts of the country that are free from that. And places where you think, oh, well, there wasn't a black community to get oppressed. That's because there are places like Oregon where black people were specifically not allowed to go there for a very long time.
Yeah. Oh, no, we're not racist, says everyone in Portland. About that. Anyway.
So do you know what else sucks, Josh, besides our country?
I mean, there lots of things. We could go on for days. Lots of things are broken.
Yeah, but
what else sucks, Adam?
I'm going to say this episode of Law and Order SVU that we got to watch this week.
And that we'll get to
watch next week.
Drop 2 episodes about. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this week's episode, which Adam and I clearly both love, is season 19, episode 23, the penultimate episode of season 19, part of a 2-parter. This one is called Remember Me. After an obligatory Live Noah cold open, where Baby Doe asks about Grandma Sheila, who everyone prayed was out of the picture, to the cold, indifferent God who clearly hates us all, an au pair named Lourdes, in a sleek black dress, descends the stairs to a family who rightfully tells her she's a smoke show before they tell her to go get her fuck on at the club because they're taking the kids to Greenwich to hang with the grandparents. Like the hot nanny, Finn and Rollins are out on the town, but Finn's in his own personal country music hell, while Amanda's making fuck me eyes at some country bassist bobbing around arrhythmically on the stage. Don't worry though, SVU faithful. One cop is still manning the fort on a Friday night, as Dominic Carisi sits at his desk telling his sister Teresa that all the hot billionaires are taken before a case centered around proffered penile foot massages on the C-train waltzes in the door. Lourdes eyes a Latin hunk across the club, asks him if he remembers her, to which he replies, "There ain't no way I'd forget your hot ass." They go back to his place. She pulls a gun, says, "Now do you remember me?" and clocks him with the butt of the handgun. The next morning, some rando walks into the precinct with a phone he found in the club, playing a live feed of Lourdes holding Miguel tied to a chair at gunpoint. Lourdes said that her captor's voice echoes in her nightmares, and he says that's not possible because they've never met before tonight. Apparently, Taru can't trace the IP of this feed because it's being routed through the darknet, but they pull the billing address of the phone, which sends them running off to the West Village. She tries to tell him that they met 5 years ago when she still had hope and a future, and he says he was designing software in Portland then, but she insists that he's the one who burned and scarred her. Ralisi chased down the apartment on Bleecker, but no one is there. Lourdes tells Miguel that he deserves worse than death and that he can get his ass ready for a hearty portion of torture. After Miguel's neighbors say he's a solid dude, but otherwise give the unit nothing to go on, they're able to parse that the apartment in the video must be Central Park West from the details in the video feed. Then she walks onto the terrace, he pleads to the camera for help, and a gunshot rings out. False alarm, though. She didn't kill herself. It was a starter pistol for a race. She tells him she wouldn't let him off that easily without a trial. He asks if she'll let him go if he confesses to everything. He starts playing along, but he won't cop to raping her because he says he's never raped anyone. He then asserts that he has connections with the police and that he can help her. Meanwhile, police are pounding down every door with a balcony near the start of the race. An older dude, Jorge, keys into the apartment just as she's starting to untie him, and he ignores Miguel's warnings and gets brained for it with the base of a trophy. Then Lourdes sees that Miguel keeps looking toward the camera, finds it, and kills the feed. Liv and Officer Montero are checking penthouses, and Lourdes gets the jump on Montero, and because this is a Michael Chernuchin episode, Liv wanders in and ends up in a standoff with weapons drawn. As the rest of the unit leads the task force of police clearing CPW buildings, Liv agrees to drop her weapon and acquiesce to Lourdes's demands, cuffing Montero to the showerhead and dragging poor Jorge in there too. Lourdes starts making demands, but Liv says she won't do anything if the gun's pointed at her, so Lourdes shoves it back in Miguel's face. Liv says Lourdes wanted a witness, so why doesn't she tell her what happened? Lourdes starts telling Liv her story. Liv does her whisper cop thing, telling Lourdes she believes her, then seemingly out of nowhere starts screaming at Miguel when he tries to talk, and telling our gun-wielding nanny that she wakes up in the middle of the night gasping for air when thinking of her own attacker. Lourdes tells Miguel to sing his favorite song, which, after she prompts him as to what that song was, he does to appease her. Miguel rightfully wonders just what in the fuck is going on with the crazy cop before confessing to the crimes of which he's been accused while under extreme duress. Finn calls Liv, who gives him enough to establish that she's in trouble without alerting Lourdes. Lourdes burns Miguel's cheek with a cigarette, then he leaves a puddle of long brewing piss at his feet. Liv says she's going to arrest Miguel and testify against him. Lourdes instructs Liv to untie him and then directs them to the terrace. Lourdes says Miguel caught her and her two friends when they tried to escape as he was bringing them across a border and told her to choose which one he was going to kill to teach them all a lesson. So he needs to get up on the ledge and choose whether to jump or get shot in the back of the head. Liv says that if he dies, no one will know what he did to her, and with prodding, gets Lourdes to hand over the gun. The rest of the unit races in after Liv's defused the situation, and Liv tells them to cuff both Lourdes and Miguel. Liv says she needs a minute, breathes heavily on the terrace, and we get a, Jesus, Ternuchin, can you write an episode without Liv getting into a hostage scenario? Dick Wolf. But only kind of, because there is no Dick Wolf, and we're shooting right on to the next fucking episode.
So, forgive me, I wasn't listening. I was looking up one little thing because I did not take very good notes about this. Where did you end it? Did you end it with Liv on the terrace, or did you end it with Liv going downstairs on the street?
Terrace.
Okay.
Yeah, that's clearly the act break.
Okay.
So, or clearly the episode break.
But it didn't seem like there was a commercial break there. Anyways,
there would be if you were watching on USA.
It doesn't really matter because nothing matters. But needless to say, I felt honestly like this was a 45-minute long cold open, the way that they treated it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This is where credits roll, basically right at the end of that terrace scene.
Yep.
And yeah, it didn't really have the plot fleshed out nearly well enough to justify having an entire hour of television devoted to this.
Okay, so let's talk about the guest stars quick, because we should move through this episode as quickly as humanly possible.
I think so, yeah.
So first off, we've got Genesis Rodriguez, or Genesis Rodriguez.
She's from Miami. It's Genesis,
she is.
Josh.
Well, but she's born to a Venezuelan actor and singer and a Cuban model, so it's probably Genesis.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
So
she's playing Lourdes Vega.
So she's actually a, whatever you want to call her, Latinx, Latina, Hispanic, whatever you want to call her. But, and I want to put this delicately, I have been to the environs of Mexico City, and I know, generally speaking, what poor people, especially in the hills, look like in those areas. They do not look like Miami-based actress models.
Yeah, her mom was a Cuban model, Luisa Carolina Perez Rodriguez, and her father was Venezuelan actor and singer Jose Luis Rodriguez.
Yeah.
She got her start in Telemundo novelas, Prisionera, Dame Chocolate, and Doña Barbara. Then she starred in films, Casa de Mi Padre, the Will Ferrell comedy, Man on Ledge, Hours, Tusk, Delirium, and Centigrade. She was main cast in Time After Time, the Fugitive TV series, and season 3 of The Umbrella Academy, which I think is upcoming. And then she was main voice cast in the new She-Ra show and in both Big Hero 6 and its subsequent TV series. She also had a recurring role on Entourage. Then we've got Carlos Miranda, who's playing Miguel Lopez. He was main cast in Vita, which I've talked about on the show before, but I watched it. It's good.
I haven't seen it.
He was main cast in Vita, Anna, and season 5 of Station 19. I worked like a day on Vita.
Nice. He was also in like 5 episodes of Bosch.
He was in the last season of Bosch. That's what I was going to say. That's what Adam
That's how I know him. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. He's a street cop, right? Isn't he undercover technically?
I think so. I don't really remember.
Yeah, but it's from this newest season of Bosch, that final season of Bosch proper. He was also in Warrior and The Bling Ring. Next up, we've got Eddie Hargitay, who's playing Officer Montero. These are his first 2 of 4 and probably counting appearances as Officer Montero. He's obviously Mariska's cousin. Mickey is his godfather and uncle. Mickey being her father, of course. He's also good friends with Milo Ventimiglia.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And then I've only got 4 more, thankfully. Yeah. So then we've got Robert Toronto, who's playing NYPD Command Center Leader. He is in 7 episodes of the original series and 1 Criminal Intent. He's also in 7 SVUs, including Juvenile, where he's playing a different character, which we covered all the way back in Munch My Benson episode 5, who's the perfect victim for a 90-pound twerp.
I gotta tell you that he looks so much like somebody that he is not, and I can't place it. I
thought he was somebody else too, and I couldn't.
But he's not.
No, not that guy. Obviously, Brain Melter here. Then we've got Chris Beadham, who's playing Alan Buckley, the father of the family, which she is the nanny for. He was Joe Templeton Jr., one of the shithead frat boys in Consent, which we covered back in Munch My Benson episode 11. This might be the rapiest bar in New York City.
Everybody's coming back.
Double Brain Melter. Then he was also in 6 Inside Amy Schumer's as various characters, and he had recurring parts on Jag, Pan Am, and One Tree Hill. Mrs. Stephanie Buckley. She was played by Kelly Deadman. She has a recurring role in Power, Book 3, Raising Kanan, which is, I believe, currently airing on Starz.
Okay.
This is her 4th different character in SVU. She was also in 3 Criminal Intents and 3 episodes of the original series. Her real-life husband was one of the cops, Officer Powell, I believe, in Asunder. So we saw her real-life husband there. So he was one of the shithead cops' buddies in the unit, I believe.
She also had a small role in one of my least favorite Cage films, which I want to like so much, Snake Eyes.
Well, you know why you don't. It's because De Palma sucks.
Yeah, it's true.
And then lastly... I gotta shit on De Palma if I can, I guess. Lastly, we've got Gary Perez, who's playing Jorge Diaz.
Yeah.
He's in 5 episodes of 13 Reasons Why, 4 episodes of Big Dogs, 3 episodes of Oz, 3 episodes of the original series, and 2 episodes of The Sopranos.
Nice. Yeah, I don't have anybody else. Honestly, I only looked up the IMDb for the second part. And there really weren't that many characters in the first one. There's just hardly anybody.
I looked up the cursory other people, but then you're running into the issue where, like, we're in the season 19 episode.
Yeah.
A lot of these, like...
They don't have big careers. So notes, Josh.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably have more extensive ones than I do about this one.
Probably.
So go ahead.
So I feel like it's fairly safe to assume that Noah isn't going to be read anymore Beatrix Potter at bedtime if it just elicits questions about Grandma Sheila, right?
I mean, I would tell that kid never mention her name again.
Yeah.
But
he apparently saw her that day. I went back to the last episode and sort of fast forwarded through it a little bit to see, like, if maybe Noah goes to see her at the end or something, but that's not there. So
I feel like thered be some sort of restraining order. I think that you could.
Well, she's in a hospital. She's obviously in the institution at this point. She's fucking nuts.
Yeah, she's nuts and she's dangerous. And I think Liv would be completely justified in cutting off all contact. But season 19 Liv is not exactly the most rational actor, as we'll see.
No, season 19 Liv doesn't make any sense. All right. So, we go to the bullshit family stuff, and then Lourdes is at the nightclub. Yeah. My first thought is this nightclub seems awful.
It seemed miserable, but it did kind of seem like the place where, I don't know, some like vaguely Euro hot nannies might go. So it's not out of place.
Sure. That's the hot nanny club of... oh, God. And then we're treated to Finn and Rollins at this bar, and Finn says he wishes he was playing video games with Ken's adopted son, his grandson, Jaden. Then fucking Rollins is making fuck me eyes with a bassist from the Junior Brothers, who are a Brooklyn-based Americana band, who I'm sure you've seen by now, right?
Oh, yeah. 100 times. Yeah.
I'm assuming you go to one of these bands performed on SVU showcases, which they surely have at bars all over New York.
They have like a Tuesday night residency at Phil Hughes Bar, the bar around the corner from me, which is the name of my bar.
Are you really around the corner from Phil Hughes's bar?
It's not Phil Hughes's bar, but it is the Phil Hughes
sucks.
bar that's been around since 1957, so it predates the Twins pitcher, but I guess it was a
also
Yankee
Yankees
too.
pitcher
Yeah,
first.
So that would make sense.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. Maybe he was named after the bar. I don't know.
I bet he was.
Yeah. It doesn't look pleasant, but not 100% out of place. Really, so my first notes start with the guy who shows up at the squad room with the phone. I have so many questions about this moment.
Well, okay, but before this, we also have Carisi, like right before this. This whole scene, I have like 2 kind of long notes on, probably more notes than I have on the rest of the episode. Because Carisi's like having a conversation with Teresa on the phone, and he's telling her that there are no George Clooney-looking billionaires out there that are looking for a wife. And the crazy thing is...
Which one's Teresa? Is Teresa...
She's the one who's trying to bag the billionaire. She's always trying to bag the billionaire.
bagger.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm glad you remembered this. Yeah.
But the crazy thing about this is that she's trying to bag a billionaire who looks like George Clooney on the second go-around because she's divorced and her college-age daughter was in an episode during this season as a rape victim.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like... It seems like she should really like reconfigure her expectations.
Step back a minute.
Yeah. Get a better lay of the land.
Slow down. Maybe still go after that paper. That's fine. But maybe accept,
but accept an 80-year-old billionaire. I mean, you're better off anyway. Play out the string.
Yeah, just you being around. He won't make you sign a prenup. Maybe you can like write his kids out of the will, something like that.
Sure.
Get a good Knives Out situation going on.
Yeah, totally. But then we've got some weird shit going on the C train. Because Mr. Smith was offering to massage women's feet with his dong. Now, I got a lot of questions here because there's a fair amount of like pressure and strength that goes into a foot massage.
Okay, so maybe he gets, especially hard. Maybe he has chemical assistance.
But I feel like his dick must be like a knotty piece of driftwood or something.
Yeah.
To be able to really work a foot. Maybe it's calloused in a weird way.
Maybe it's one of those like egg-shaped weird ones, so not
like... Oh, yeah, it could be that.
Yeah, it's more like a pressure point kind of thing going on.
Maybe there's like a weird curvature that really helps him.
It goes right into the arch, just slides right in there.
Yeah. But needless to say, there's got to be something weird going on with his dick if this is what he does, because it really doesn't seem like you could massage feet very well with a dick.
I mean, one thing you can say about the Chernuchin years is at least they kept the irreverent...
wildly inappropriate bullshit.
Yeah, they kept that going.
Yeah, or they brought it back, I guess. Then we get to the fucking club, and it's the "Do you remember me?" and he fucking doesn't remember. And then the "Now do you remember me?" and she pulls the gun. We're gonna have to kind of tread lightly because I don't think we should talk too much about what happens in the next episode because it affects how this one reads.
I mean, sure, I can approach this from a blank slate, which is she comes across as a complete
lunatic.
Deranged lunatic.
Yes. No, absolutely. She seems completely deranged. Now, okay, the central premise of this episode is fundamentally flawed either way.
Yes.
Like, it's theoretically a premise with promise, I guess, but either he doesn't know her, or he straight up forgot that he fucking raped this very attractive woman while transporting her across the fucking country and got himself into this mess when he tried to take her home. So either way this is playing, because it's got to be one of those two ways.
Yes.
Either way this is playing out makes no fucking sense.
So the theory of the crime makes no sense. Whatever crime is being committed.
Also, anything about his character makes no sense.
No. And it continues to not make sense into the next episode, so that's not really giving anything away.
Well into this, yeah. No, his character never makes sense.
But also, the thing I have the biggest problem with, of course, is that auto unlock on a phone is not a thing.
Correct.
The random guy with the shaggy hair did not just pick up somebody's phone off the ground and auto unlock it into an app that has a live feed.
Right.
It doesn't matter what the live feed is.
Especially a phone with a live feed to a dark net video feed that's like totally encrypted and you can't trace.
So this guy was going through every single button on the phone, seeing what everything was before he came to this dark net encrypted feed.
And the code to unlock the phone was just 4 ones.
He said he engaged auto unlock.
Yeah, but we all know what really happened.
But the next question I have is, okay, so even if we accept the fact that he unlocked this phone and that he found this live feed, why would he take it to SVU? You don't call 911 and say, I've got a hostage situation that I just found about, and we're going to send you to the rape investigators. They probably send you to the hostage negotiators, because there are people at NYPD that specialize in that. And clearly Liv has lost her certification for that. If we...
Wait, how do you figure? Okay, so after this, they figure out where he lived by the billing records on the phone.
Yeah.
So they go to his apartment, and it seems kind of suspect. I mean, we later in the second episode find out that the apartment actually isn't that suspect because he was getting it painted, but it looks like it's not really lived in.
It does look like you're like, oh, what's going on here?
That's like one of the only alarm bells that play out if you're looking at this from 2 points of view, and you're looking at it from either she is crazy and has taken this random guy hostage, or he is gaslighting her and he did it and is trying to like keep up appearances. This is kind of the only thing that in this episode, other than the camera running in the apartment, is sort of the only other thing that is like a strike against him in her favor.
Yeah, you're trying to be like the, I think he was like a daimyo judge in Rashomon, right? And you're trying to hear all of the evidence, assuming that everybody is, to their best knowledge, telling the truth. Yeah. And then reconciling it at the end.
Do you think Liv's doing that at any point in this episode? Because I sure don't.
No, Liv's certainly not doing that.
No.
Liv, I have to say that I worry about Liv's drinking in this episode. I see her take it like at least 1 or 2 sips of red wine, and the way she's playing the character...
Oh, she seems drunk.
She seems like sauced.
Yeah.
Throughout.
Some of it could be exhaustion. Like one of the dopamine rush and the crash afterwards, or not dopamine, but the adrenaline rush and the crash afterwards would obviously...
I think you're giving everybody involved in the creation of this episode a lot of credit if you're... So they go to his apartment.
Yeah.
But then... You're going to have to fill me back in how they figured out that this was in the 70s on Central Park West, because that...
the gunshot.
It was the gunshot. Okay.
Now, he can't possibly know that the police are watching as he's looking into the camera. Yeah. As Miguel is looking into the camera. There's no way he can know they're watching.
Who does he think is watching? Who is watching the fucking camera, Josh? This is something that is never answered.
The best case scenario for him is that some dark entity watching swoops in to save him. But if that's the case, why would he continue to play like nothing has ever happened between the two of them? Like he never met her and he couldn't have done it.
Yeah, because...
Why is he playing that card?
Exactly. Like the cousins from Breaking Bad are going to show up at any moment and chop her into 1,000 pieces. Like, those are the only people who would conceivably be watching this.
My only other explanation for it is like, okay, well, this is some fucked up sex dungeon. That's the only other thing that it could really be, because there is a camera feed that seems like if the feed is on the dark net and not just some fucking normal app, then it seems like something untoward is going on here.
Okay, maybe, but I don't feel like the writers or actors in this have any idea what the dark net is, at least not enough to opine on it.
And they should, because it's 2018.
But Josh, nobody puts their rape dungeon in the middle of their living room. The rape dungeon doesn't go next to the terrace.
I was thinking that the bathroom would probably be the place where all the fucked up shit goes on. If that's the scenario that's playing out.
Okay, maybe that this is a second apartment that is solely for the purpose of rape dungeoning. So like his normal life goes on at his other fancy apartment.
And I mean, maybe it gets darker and it's like snuff films and shit, but like it doesn't, just nothing makes sense.
But you have a better camera setup than that. I'm sorry, but that camera is dog
absolutely.
Shit.
That's a terrible angle. If you're using that camera for pornographic purposes, you're getting nothing with it.
And also, I'll tell you, because we've done the research on this, because of the baby monitor cams.
The porn one?
No, because of baby monitor
porn research? Sure.
Excuse me. But if you're broadcasting over any fucking feed, it's not over the dark web and it can be traced.
Yeah.
Any of that shit that you can broadcast to anywhere else, somebody can hack into, and they really try to scare parents about this. So unless you have a very closed circuit that's only a short distance over a radio wave, it's not secure. And even that's not secure. It's just only not secure over a very short distance.
Mm-hmm. Now, they figure out where this has to have been because of the starter pistol going off. Mm-hmm. From what they say, there's a 10K, and the pistol goes off at 2 p.m. on a Friday.
That's not when 10Ks take place.
My thoughts exactly. They generally try to run distance races in the morning because optimal performance occurs at temperatures between 44 and 59 degrees. It was 72 degrees at 2 p.m. on the 11th of May.
Yeah. But also, Josh, as a distance runner, I think both of us have run in distance events.
Yeah, it was 25,000 beers ago, but yes, I did used to run.
Yeah, but the assholes that run in these races, they're go-getters. Those things start at 7.
And you know when they don't start?
They don't start at 2.
Friday.
They don't start on a Friday ever.
No,
they never start on a Friday.
No, Saturday and Sunday. These people work.
Or on Monday when it's a fucking holiday.
Yes.
That's when they happen.
That's it. You're only getting these on holidays and weekends. Mm-hmm. It's not at fucking 2 p.m. on a Friday afternoon.
Never.
This is basic ass shit. It seems insane to me that not a single person in the writer's room knew that road races don't happen in 1, the after fucking noon, and 2, on a goddamn weekday on a normal, in a normal week.
But also that the whole premise for this episode is some shaggy-haired dipshit walks into the station having picked up a phone. Mm-hmm. That's the episode. If he doesn't walk in or he walks into a different squad, there's no episode.
I wish that had never happened. Can we retcon this to where that dipshit doesn't walk in? All right, so I have to say that Miguel's super convincing. He's either a gaslighting pro, sociopathic levels of manipulation, or he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Because that's absolutely the way this played to both of us. It wasn't just me, because when I was rewatching, I was looking to kind of figure out, okay, was I seeing things wrong? And I don't feel
No. He's playing it like he is a computer programmer who lived in Portland
went to
until
Gonzaga.
6 months ago and went to Gonzaga, even though nobody actually goes to Gonzaga. It's just a fake school with basketball scholarships. Or so I'm told.
I think it's actually a school, but so then he actually convinces her to start untying him, and then Jorge Diaz wanders in. And my question here is, if he is a cartel dude and he's in on it, he's in on human trafficking, he also doesn't make any decisions that make sense. He is told when the keys turn in the door to get the fuck out and call the police. Uh-huh. He wanders in fucking completely oblivious.
Oh, completely.
Doesn't listen to a fucking word Miguel says.
No.
Wanders in dragging his fucking dumb wheelie suitcase, and then gets clocked in the fucking back of the head. And I also don't know how she got to that angle either, to be able to sneak up behind him, because she was kneeling at Miguel's feet ready to untie him, and then the keys turn. And so it's wait, how did she get to a spot behind the door in the time from Jorge putting a key in the door, her hearing it? Nothing makes sense.
She was also wearing about 5-inch heels all night long.
No, she was barefoot at this point.
Oh, she finally is barefoot at this point, but most of the night
she's barefoot.
So it was
at the club she was wearing the heels, but she was barefoot in the apartment for most of it.
No, but for what seemed like an excruciatingly long, I don't know, half an hour of her just screaming at Miguel and crying, she was still wearing the shoes. They did not look comfortable.
By this point, I'm almost positive she is not wearing shoes.
I know when Liv was there, she took them off.
She definitely had them off then. But maybe I'm misplacing. But still, nothing makes sense.
This guy, Diaz is supposed to be a hardened criminal mastermind, right? That's what
we don't know that.
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
But still, that's at least one of the theories.
If that is who he is, then it doesn't make any sense. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, he looks like a guy who's on a cruise ship alone or something. And he went to the Thomas Kincaid art sale at the cruise ship. That's what he looks like. He has no situational awareness.
Which, if he were a cartel member,
you'd think he might.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you'd think if he made it to, what, like his late 50s, maybe 60s?
But Josh, he not only made it to his late 50s or 60s, he made it to Central Park West patio.
Sure.
That's not...
a terrace. He's got a fucking terrace at his apartment.
Yeah, he's like fucking String and Avon when they're on top of the world.
If they succeeded.
Yeah, but when they're in that...
Well, no, when they go to String's apartment, I guess, yeah.
When they go to
it's like
String's
that,
apartment
basically.
and they're talking, and Avon's out of the joint.
It's far less tasteful than String's apartment.
Absolutely.
String's apartment, when McNulty is sitting in Stringer's apartment.
Yeah, it's a classy
He's
as
like,
fuck.
I don't even fucking know. Who the fuck was I investigating? Like, who is this?
Anyways, back to the show.
Then Liv wanders into yet another fucking standoff hostage situation.
Obviously, we know there's this whole setup. They're checking rooms. There's no way that it's not going to be Liv knocking on the door. We know that from the get-go, obviously. I just don't think that she's doing a very good job at being a police officer through this. Because
What would make you think that?
Well,
that was me being facetious. She is terrible. Now, I love that Miguel having two sisters, like he's using that as the reason that he could never have raped him.
I know. No rapers have ever had sisters or mothers.
Rapers can't have sisters.
No, they've never had sisters.
Yeah, they've never had mothers either. That's true. So then, okay, it felt like Liv was just bonding with her. Like when you're watching it the first time,
Dude.
it feels like she's just playing her kind of.
That's exactly what I thought.
And then she's not, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, she starts doing the Vic whispering bullshit that at least during the Chernuchin years feels like it's complete self-parody. And then she just turns and starts screaming at Miguel, and you're like, wait, this feels real. I think she might actually be buying this bullshit.
No, to me, I felt like, oh, she's just disarming Lourdes, and she's doing a good job
That's
of it.
absolutely what I thought she was doing.
But no, you're absolutely right. To me, it was like kind of the end of season 2 of Twin Peaks when fucking Kyle MacLachlan gets infected with the spirit of Bob. And all of a sudden, Lourdes isn't the crazy one anymore. It's fucking Liv. And Liv is like, her eyes are like bleeding, basically. And she is losing her fucking mind.
Yeah, she's losing her fucking mind. Like, I mean, the only way any of this episode works is if you don't stop at all and think about the massive plot holes.
That just literally, I mean, it's like you're breaking your leg stepping through these potholes in this.
God damn it. I mean, you're like falling into the goddamn Grand Canyon. Like the second time through, it's clear that they've just built a skyscraper on quicksand and it's just gonna fucking disappear.
No, like what drugs were they doing in this writing room where they were like, no, this is gold, the live feed. We're going with the live feed.
Well, they had the cooler of greenies in the writer's room. You know, they're kicking it 60s baseball style.
It's not cheating if it doesn't work, right?
Yeah. So then her attacker sang La Bamba while he raped her. Getting him to sing the most famous Spanish language rock song in the world isn't really that telling after prompting him to do so.
But it's the most famous Spanish language rock song in English speaking America, right? And also the names of everybody really upset me, right? So you've got like Miguel Lopez, whatever. That's a real name, but it's also like probably one of the most common 10 names in the Western Hemisphere.
Sure.
Lourdes is a real name, but it also Lourdes to me is the name of a
Blue Jays
70-year-old woman.
/outfielder.
Yeah, a 70-year-old Cuban woman. That's Lourdes. I know one of those. I'm sorry, but her friends, Lucita, well, it just means little Lucy or little Lucia. It's possible. Estella is not a Spanish name. It's not. Estella is a Greek name. And I highly doubt that a rural Mexican woman would have that name.
Yeah.
But I don't doubt for a second that the Chernuchin writer's room would just be like, yeah, sure, Estella, that sounds like a Spanish name. Who gives a fuck?
Fuck it, dude. Yeah, let's keep going. No one's paying any attention, right? We're in season 19. Yeah. Like, we can just do whatever we want and it doesn't need to make sense.
It's fucking shocking, man.
So then Finn calls Liv and figures out, Liv feeds him just enough to whatever. Then he tells Taru to start tracing Liv's cell. And I'm like, motherfucker, look at the board over there. You've got 3 buildings left. Like, you don't need to run a trace on that cell. It's not going to get you any closer.
Yeah.
It's not going to tell you that it's in this building or the building right next to it. It'll get close. It'll be like that general vicinity, but I don't think you're going to be able to triangulate so perfectly that you can tell any better than the goddamn 3 buildings right over here on CPW that are clearly like, okay, it's one of these 3 because they've already eliminated all but 3 of the buildings at this point.
All of those buildings have doormen. You just go, hey, was a drunk, crazed police lieutenant in here like 5 minutes ago?
Pretty much everything that happens after this is just fucking stupid. Like, the only note I have left is, even if Liv believes this confession that Lourdes gets from Miguel, it means absolutely nothing, because a confession under duress is not going to be admissible in court.
I watched it, man, and to me there was nothing about his acting that screamed, oh, he's hiding the real truth.
Exactly.
It was like, oh, he's pissing himself because she seems fucking crazy and she's pointing a gun at his head or making him nearly jump off of a 20-story building.
And, like, we can't really talk about this until the next episode.
Yeah, I gotta say that one thing I'm glad about, and I've seen it a few times here, but I'm glad that the suede loafer, no socks look for going out is kind of going out of style, because
it's gross. It's disgusting.
Made me want to vomit on his feet.
Yeah.
when he was standing there.
Like, it's as disgusting as Marcia Gay Harden pouring fucking 5 pounds of ketchup on her steak in the last episode.
Do we have anything else to talk about
No.
here? Can we rank this fucking
Rank
thing?
it.
Yeah. All right, let me get to the right page. So, of course, folks, we rank these episodes. And, we have 4 criteria that we rank on. That's the quality, the guests, how problematic it was, and the depth and breadth of lives ruined. We're coming up with a composite score so that we can slot it in next to all the other episodes that we've watched.
Right where it belongs.
I really don't know how this one gets a score that's very good. I really don't know how it gets there.
We're not going to have to do much tweaking either.
So quality is an obvious one. Obvious one. It's not a...
One with a bullet.
Not a question. Guess, I would also say a 1, right? Is there anything redeemable about the guests in the first episode? The whole episode rests on their performances, and I would say that...
I don't think it's the performances that are bad necessarily.
No.
Like, I think Miguel's actually good.
Miguel's good, however... Okay, you're right.
Nothing makes sense, but it's not the guest
his
stars.
fault. It's not his fault.
No, it's not his fault, and it's not Genesis Rodriguez's fault. The fault lies in nothing making sense. Like, there's no way to make sense of anything that's going on here if you were the actor.
I just feel bad for them, right? Because, I mean, Genesis Rodriguez she would have been great if this, maybe great. She would have been fine if this were 1 episode instead of 2. Mm-hmm. But so much of it is her crying and screaming at him, and it's hard to watch. And not in that, like, good uncomfortable way, in the bad uncomfortable way.
No.
So give me a number, Josh. Is this a 2 then? Are you saying?
I think it's a 2. It's still really bad.
It's
and I don't want to give it any more than a 2 because I don't want it to end up any higher.
But really, the whole thing is the guests, and it is not their fault. And
yeah, it's not their fault, but it's not good, and it's not good because it's relying on the guests.
Yeah.
It's a 2 only because they couldn't do anything about this making no sense.
And of course, the only other actor in this with any amount of lines is Mariska Hargitay, who is much worse than either of the 2 guest actors. Yeah. Much
like,
worse.
If you could go below a 1 on this one for quality, where her performance is a strike against this episode,
it is.
You would go below a 1. This is abysmal, and she's like straight up awful.
It's bad. It's real bad. I don't know how they went into post-production with this.
Can you imagine having to have been the editor on this episode?
Jesus Christ, man.
Having to just fucking stew in this dog shit for as long as that
hopefully
editor had
Chernuchin had fully pumped him full of whatever, ketamine, like cow testosterone.
I mean, they'd have to be on acid to...
I mean, it's what it felt like.
He's just sucking down taurine.
Is this problematic? It is. But it's mostly problematic because we were forced to watch it.
Yeah, it's so poorly
executed.
Poorly conceived and executed that you're just like, okay, the fundamental things that it's saying.
Let's step back for a moment. Hargitay herself got paid, so this is a 2-parter. She got paid like $1 million for this, right? I don't know when that big contract kicked in. Yeah.
Plus back end.
So that's just Hargitay. That doesn't include Ice-T, who also gets paid reasonably well. I imagine Carisi and Rollins are getting decent paychecks.
Yeah. I mean, Rollins has been on, this is 6 seasons.
Fucking Simon Winchester. Well, he probably is lower rate, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Still, Simon Winchester is, I think, the guy who wrote the book about Krakatoa.
He is. Yeah.
Still, a production in New York City has to not be cheap to do.
Well, this one was probably cheap. The first part was because they shot it in one location almost entirely.
They had two. They had at least two setups, but it was all in studio. They were not outside at all. You're right. Okay. Anyways, what I'm saying is this cost millions of dollars to make. And this is what they came. This is what they brought to the network after spending millions of dollars. It blows my mind. And I want to get some of that.
And I mean, maybe Chernuchin's on a 2-year show running deal, but it seems fucking insane to me that they would have given him another season. We've seen 4 or 5 episodes from season 19, and every single one of them has been bad.
Hey, so Mike, hit us up. I don't know what pots you're stirring these days. So if you can get some of that sweet NBC cash to make another series, Josh and I can come up with better material than this. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, I've got fucking series after series that I could come up with that would play better than this.
So can we give this a 1 for problematic because it's
just so bad that it doesn't matter, and the only problematic thing that's fun is the fucking Subway dick foot massage.
Ooh, the Subway dick foot massage might bring it to a 2 because that was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was funny. It was straight up like it was funny.
I do feel like the first half was more enjoyable in certain ways than the second half, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, you're really getting ahead of ourselves here.
The depth and breadth of lives ruined. At the point that we leave this episode...
Yeah, everyone's fine. I mean, one guy's going to the hospital.
That one guy's got brained. Miguel Lopez... He's not dead. Miguel Lopez got burned and pissed himself.
Pissed his loafers. His loafers are bepissed now.
Yeah.
So.
Liv has busted a few blood vessels in her eyes, but that's it. So this is a 1, right?
Yeah.
Great. So I think we're all agreed that this deservedly gets a 1.5, which let's see where it ranks.
Second lowest, I believe, after Asunder, right?
It should be pretty close to that. It's tied with Asunder. Because Asunder got a 3 for problematic. So, yeah, awesome. Okay. I think it's deservedly so.
All right.
So, shall we... Well, we already know what the next one is. No rolling required.
Next episode is... And you may have already watched this, because if you're watching on Hulu, it just
keeps
kicked
going
right into it. So next week, we will be talking about Remember Me 2. And I was hoping when I saw the title originally that maybe it was going to be a Me Too episode because that's the first thing we got. But no, it's not that. In the conclusion of a 2-part season finale, Lieutenant Benson's suspicions about a kidnapping victim undercover a dangerous criminal network prepared to silence anyone who gets in their way. And I would posit that maybe nothing about her suspicions do that. But anyway. Yeah, that's what we're watching next week. If you really like hearing us talk about episodes that we didn't like of this show, well, hold on to your butts because you're going to get more.
If you guys can believe it, this one we've kind of held back because we didn't want to give away the goose. But next week, it doesn't get any better. It doesn't get any better.
No. And any of the sense that you maybe thought it might have been able to make eventually? Don't hold your breath.
All right, guys. So until then, let's just munch our Bensons, okay? Yeah. Rate and review the podcast. Yeah, all that stuff. But remember the good times. Like Chris Christopherson. Remember the good times.
Yeah. When you were a Rhodes Scholar and played college football and got too cocky when you were shooting semi-tough and told all these football players that you used to play football in college and then got lit the fuck up. Because Chris Christopherson did all that.
Get your song picked up by Al Green on an album cover where he's wearing probably the greatest outfit of all time.
Yeah.
All right. Until then, guys, we'll see ya.
Munch the fuck out of our Bensons.
Just munch our Bensons. Remember, guys, this is a great television show. And sometimes, even in the sunniest life, a little rain must fall. So it gets better, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, God. It's just such a fucking dog shit episode. Peace out.
I realize it's Friday night. My social life is great. Thanks for asking. Teresa, I gotta tell you, I don't know what you've been waiting for, but the last time I checked, all the billionaires who look like George Clooney, they're taken. You know? Hey, I gotta go. All right, I love you. Tell me I love it too. All right? What do you got?
Picked up Mr. Smith here on the C train, offering to massage women's feet with his penis.
That's great.
Come on. Picked up Mr. Smith here on the C train, offering to massage women's feet with his penis, 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 with his penis.